Since you want a serious philosophical analysis, now is the time to show you that freedom is not just an abstract concept, a beautiful ideal, or a goal to be achieved. Freedom is also one of the greatest paradoxes humanity faces, perhaps its deepest nightmare. Because to be free means to be compelled to make choices, and being compelled to make choices means bearing responsibility for the consequences, confronting uncertainty, and constantly being faced with the question, what if I'm wrong? After this analysis, you'll question if your routine actions, waking up in bed half asleep when the alarm rings, drinking coffee at the same time every day, listening to the same songs in traffic, and taking the same steps to work are really you, or a way to escape who you aren't. Perhaps these routines are a way to escape the weight of freedom, the dizzying responsibility of making choices. Perhaps you have voluntarily locked yourself in a small, safe cage because the open sky is too frightening. Freedom is not simply the permission to do whatever you want or unrestricted freedom of movement that most people romanticize in their minds. No, this definition is too superficial, too boring, and too comforting. True freedom is a much darker, much more disturbing concept. Freedom is actually a deep, shocking, and almost unbearable awareness that you have voluntarily put on your chains, those heavy, cold, invisible chains with your own hands. This awareness is a soul-shaking awakening because now you can blame no one. You cannot blame anyone, not the system, not society, and not your parents. Ownership of the chains is yours. Society is built upon a fascinating magic trick we call order. This order is so masterfully designed that billions of people live, breathe, and die within it without ever realizing they are part of it. People believe themselves to be free as long as they pay their bills regularly every month, wait for traffic lights to turn green in the morning, see themselves as good citizens when they stop at red lights, and wait to be saved, enlightened, and guided by the heroes on their television screens or social media. For them, freedom is nothing more than the space for movement generously granted to them by the state, the laws, and social norms. This situation is no different than looking at a bird in a golden cage, that flashy, shiny, luxurious cage, and saying, "Look how much space you have, how lucky you are." A cage is still a cage. The fact that it is golden only dazzles the eyes. It does not change the reality. When you truly understand how fragile, how rotten, how easily destroyed a civilization really is, with its magnificent buildings, complex institutions, century-spanning history, and the invisible networks that bind billions of people together. Another realization comes with that awareness. You begin to carry the heavy, crushing, sometimes unbearable burden of knowing that you are not obligated to maintain, protect, or contribute to that order, that perhaps you shouldn't even have to, because now you know the solid foundations of society are actually nothing more than a collective illusion, a magical phrase repeated by people who believe it must be this way, a shared dream, and dreams fade away when you wake up. This is precisely where chaotic freedom, which philosophers quietly debate but most people are afraid to even hear the name of, comes into play. If no one tells you what to do, how to live, what to believe, or which path to walk, or rather if they do tell you, but you understand that you are not obligated to listen to them, then theoretically, you can do anything, literally everything. This freedom encompasses the good, the bad, the creative, and the destructive. Moral compasses, legal boundaries, and social expectations all become mere suggestions for you, paper tigers. You are now outside the rules, above them, perhaps even below them, and this position is both divine and diabolical. This potential, this universe of limitless possibilities is the true horror that ordinary people, the millions who wake up to their alarms every morning, go to the same job, watch the same TV shows, and have the same discussions, dare not face, avoid, or suppress. This potential would be a nightmare that kept them awake at night if they dared to look at it. But they don't, because deep down, in their subconscious, in the darkest corners of their souls, they need someone, a leader, a doctrine, an ideology, an authority figure to tell them what to do, how to think, what is right and what is wrong. This need is not actually a weakness, it is a defense mechanism, because bearing the burden of true freedom would break most people's backs. Now, I'm going to ask you the most uncomfortable, most revealing, and most vulnerable question. This question will shine a light on that dark corner inside you, that shadow you're afraid to illuminate. If for just a moment, all rules, all laws, all social expectations, and moral boundaries were to vanish, if when you woke up tomorrow morning, the world were completely submerged in anarchy, chaos, and utter lawlessness, and you knew that no action would have any consequence. No one would judge you, punish you, or applaud you. What is the first thing you would do? This is, in fact, the question. Who are you? Because without rules, what remains is your true essence. This is the naked self that lies beneath the veneer of civilization, the social mask, and the learned behaviors. Most people never dare to contemplate the final layer, the ultimate form of freedom, the permanence and transformation of identity. Here lies the sweetest, most intoxicating, most dizzying freedom, liberation from identity itself. This body, this skin color, these fingerprints, this DNA, and this name stuck on it are actually constraints, prisons. This physical form is subject to time, doomed to aging, a mortal shell. But an idea, a laugh, a concept, a symbol, they are free in the full and absolute sense of the word. You cannot imprison them, capture them, or kill them. They exist beyond time and space. The greatest freedom, and perhaps the most radical freedom any human can achieve, is to exist completely independent of one's body, name, and physical presence, and even to exist more powerfully. The body may tire and collapse, the heart may stop, and the brain may fall silent. But an idea, a principle it represents, that desire to challenge the order, that question of why, never tires, never dies. Because they are no longer a person, they are a legacy. This is the art of consciously and skillfully transforming oneself into an immortal psychological legacy, a cultural virus, an echo that will reverberate for generations. To insidiously infiltrate a system, that solid, secure, self-assured system, and use its codes to work against it. To sow seeds of doubt in the minds of a generation, perhaps many generations, to make them question everything they accept as normal. This is a freedom that even death cannot chain, confine, or extinguish. Physical existence ends, but the idea lives on, grows, evolves, and multiplies. This is true freedom, to transcend the body, to transcend the name, and to become a pure concept, pure energy, a pure question mark. You die, but the chaos you create, the seeds you sow, and the chain of thought you initiate echo forever. And perhaps the most ironic thing is this. To achieve this freedom, you must first stop being me. Perhaps the least discussed but most powerful aspect of freedom? Freedom is directly and inevitably linked to the power of fear. Freedom is not merely the ability to do as you please. True freedom is the ability to choose what to do, which path to take, and who to be, even when you come face to face with your deepest, most primal, most paralyzing fears, the fear of death, the fear of loneliness, the fear of meaninglessness, and the fear of rejection. Even when your whole body trembles, your breath catches, and your heart races wildly, the essence of freedom is the ability to make a choice in the face of fear. Everyone loves to use words like justice, goodness, mercy, or salvation. These words are beautiful, comforting, and socially acceptable. But when you find yourself in that dark, airless, cornered moment, when your life or the life of someone you love is in danger, when all the luxuries of civilization have collapsed, when no one sees you or judges you, when all that beautiful moral structure, that carefully constructed system of values collapses, that's when true freedom begins, because you're no longer playing a role, conforming to society, or trying to be approved of. It's just you and your choice. A truly free person, and such people are rare, perhaps even dangerous, does not need a moral compass, pre-written rules, or society's approval. Because that compass actually points only to a non-existent port, an unreachable point of absolute goodness or absolute truth. That port is an illusion, a consolation, a collective dream. Freedom is the courage to let go of that compass, even to break it. It is to create your own path, your own north, your own meaning. But here's the joke. A tragic, painful, and profoundly human joke. Remember, you always have a choice. Theoretically, you can choose at any moment, in any situation. But most of the time, actually, in most situations, the burden, the responsibility, the weight, and the psychological cost of making a choice, of exercising that freedom, are much heavier than simply obeying, walking with the herd, and saying, "Tell me what to do." People don't flee freedom because they dislike it. They flee because they can't bear it. Freedom isn't the light-winged thing it's often imagined to be. On the contrary, it's an overwhelming burden. If this analysis shatters your false sense of security, challenges your comfortable, predictable worldview, disturbs or excites you, then you have begun to see the truth. The real questions, the ones without easy answers, lie here. And who knows, maybe you too will eventually see who put those chains on you. But be careful. Some truths, once seen, cannot be unseen. Are you sure you want to see? Gather your courage and think. If you were truly free, who would you be? Oh, ha 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 ha.